All right, go ahead, Cole.
Well, going back and looking at that film, you had mentioned after the game on Saturday, the line of scrimmage. You lost the line of scrimmage. So when you looked at the film, how much of that is, hey, tip your cap to Illinois State versus that was a correctable moment?
Oh, there'll be corrections for sure, because we did not win the line of scrimmage on offense. We won the line of scrimmage on defense. And that was the difference in the game. And the other part of the difference in the game was the penalties. The first half penalties really hurt us, and we were in position 3 times to score points, whether it be 3 or 7. But 3 times we got denied because of a penalty that we put on ourselves, and that put us out of range, and then we took a sack after it, so then we end up punting. So there was a win factor in that game, particularly in the first half. That played into a lot of decisions that were made, and we had the win in certain situations when we got those penalties, and that put us out of range. And ultimately, those possessions in the first half when we did not score swung the game, and then when we didn't win the scrimmage to go back and recapture it, that was really the issue, was what I saw on film.
When it comes to penalties, it's not like you can just say, hey, guys, don't commit penalties. I mean, you want your guys to play aggressive. How do you coach through that?
Well, they weren't aggressive. They were disciplined. Everybody deceives this word as discipline. What they were is, when I say disciplinary, they were things that you can control, as far as that you have complete control of, whether where you line up, if you're on the ball, off the ball, whether you're finishing a play, that type of stuff. I mean, you have control of those things. It isn't something that's reactive. It's just something that you do have control of. So it's a focus. It's a locked in version of it, that you don't make that mental error when everything's going fast. And some people call it the fog of war. Man, when you get in the battle, things go fast. And there's times that you're going to make a human error just because things go so fast and you're trying to do your best, but there's going to be an error. So you're going to have those penalties. But the timing of our penalties have been unfortunate, and we do have control of that, particularly when we're on offense, because you get the call. We know we know the play, we know the snap count. That's on us. Those are things that are controllable. So let's control them and take advantage of that situation.
When it comes to the passing game, it seems like it's really thrived when the running game has set it up well. Everybody faces this challenge to a certain degree, I'm sure, but what does it take to be able to throw the ball with efficiency when your opponents have an idea you're probably going to throw the ball?
Well, I tell you what, we actually throw. You go back and look at it. If you really watch the game, go back and even look at the stats. Our receivers did a phenomenal job. What Isaiah did, 125 yards on a few catches and played sparingly. What the catches that Sergio made, because what they did is they came after us and they went one-on-one, and they even tried to double Isaiah at times. But they were trying to go one-on-one, put the extra guy in the box to get the hit on the run, and think they were going to cover the receivers. And ultimately, those big plays at receiver were better than 3 runs, because they really gave us the chance that they were locked in on the run, but the big explosive pass was there. Where the error came is we get the big explosive pass and we're inside the 40-yard line, and then we make the technique error on the run game, which sets you back another 5 yards. Now you're 2nd and 15, and now you are behind the chains, because now it's 2nd and 15 or 1st and 15, whatever, and they know that there's a possible throw. You're better off on 1st and 10 and 2nd and 7 being able to throw the football than you are on 1st and 15 and 2nd and 15. And now they know, there's a different structure out there to defend your passing game. But I go back to the passing game. Sergio played an excellent football game. Isaiah Weston played an excellent football game. Sam Snee played an excellent football game. And that was without Quan. We lost Quan. We lost Isaiah all week long. I mean, we've already lost Wolf. And yet you got Sam Snee steps up in a role that he had, and Isaiah's catches, of course, and then Sergio was one that really put us in position in that first half with some circus catches that should have kept the offense going. And then when we didn't get the run with it, that was a problem, because we were throwing the ball good. It was we weren't getting the run to really should have opened up, because the passing game was there.
Theo took 5 or 6 sacks.
Yep.
How much of that is, because like you mentioned, they were bringing the extra guy versus just needing to get that blocked up a little better?
It needs to get blocked up a lot better because he took some hits. Now I go back and watch the tape because you're going, okay, was that Theo? Theo was taking a hit while he's throwing the football on a line to the receivers making the catch. The protection needed to hold up better, and you would have had more catches downfield like that because they were sending the extra guy, which means they were going one-on-one with our receivers. And what the great part was Sergio making the plays. We know Isaiah's going to make the plays, but when you have more than one great receiver, you can't double people out there. But no, I was very pleased with our receiver core when you go back and really see the numbers, and you kind of lost that in the scope of the game. And because it was like we rushed the ball 42 times, and really we didn't get anything out of it like we should have. So that was, to me, was, put a curtain over what we did throwing the football was the penalties and the lack of being able to hit the runs as consistently as we have been.
Quan, what's his status headed into this week?
Same thing. I'd probably put him in the doubtful category. It is what it is. We're this past week after playing those 2 games, it really factored into what happened last week's practice because, again, we lost Piney, Quan, Omar, Lane Pryor at tight end. I mean, we took a significant hit last week as far as what we had been playing with, because we'd already shored up things, and we lost Piney too. So we already had some things shored up, and then we had to make some more things meet up, and now you're getting to that point that, how do you put the pieces together when you're dealing with it the week prior, 2 days prior to the game. So it's unfortunate, but they're playing hard enough. They're playing so dang hard that Quan is leaving it on the table. Piney left it on the table, and Duda, they left it on the table. They took some significant hits in those games, and trying to get the extra yard or the extra effort, and that ultimately we didn't get them back in time for the game.
How about Omar? Doubtful, questionable?
Doubtful.
Doubtful.
No, he's doubtful. He's doubtful. So.
Okay. The league just continues to kind of rip itself apart. You saw South Dakota State get a win against North Dakota State. Southern Illinois goes down again. I mean, what do you see when you look at this league? I would imagine there's a lot of people that are fans of the league that probably think you at least got to put 5 teams in, just the way that it looks right now into the FCS playoffs.
Oh, they're you said it. I'm a coach coaching it right now, but I know in this league right now because this league is stronger than some of those mid-major ones right now because you look at the top half of it. There's just so much going on right now. So all we need to do is just focus on our league, and it's we knew it was going to get this way because of the types of teams in this league, the types of coaches in this league. This is a great league. Now, all I care about is what happens at UNI, and the deal in this league is you're finding out is you can say 5 teams getting in, but that's the 5 teams that I'm dealing with in number 6, number 3, number 2, and you go back over the list of what we played. I think these guys are ranked now in the top 15 right now too. So we've probably played 7 games, top 15 teams, and nobody even mentioned Sacramento State, who's 7-2, and winning the Big Sky. So we've been through that part of the season, but it isn't getting any easier by going to Missouri State. So you need depth, is what I'm trying to say. You got to have depth. You've got to have the recruiting aspect and the resources to have the depth to play in this league because, as you see, injuries are dictating more the wins and losses right now than maybe the teams are. And that's what's really everybody's changing each week because they're losing players or gaining players back. And it's making up a difference of what these records are and ultimately who's going to the playoffs and who's not. It has a lot to do with depth, too.
What is the scouting report for Missouri State?
They're good. And nothing different than anybody else. It's Missouri State is excellent on offense. Heck, Missouri State looks more like an FBS team than it does an FCS team right now. It's not Missouri State of old. It is. Coach Petrino went in there and went back to his roots in the SEC and recaptured a lot of the transfer portal and just went that direction. And basically the last 2 seasons of recruiting is probably has multiple players on that starting roster who weren't there 2 years ago. So he has really ramped up his talent on both sides of the ball, and thus it's a good plan on top of it. I mean, that's why they're good. Is they've got a good plan, but they have totally restructured the players they have on that football team too, of how they took the program and went through the portal to really enhance their program.
You've been in this position before where you got to get wins to get in. Well, what's it take this time of year? Obviously depth, like you mentioned, but what all goes into finishing the way that everybody on the team knows you got to finish now?
Well, it takes one day. You got to deal with the first day, and not. You can't be a dreamer and you can't be a wisher. You can't hope for stuff to happen. You got to go make stuff happen. And everybody hopes and everybody wishes, but that doesn't win. I mean, what wins is how you prepare, how you plan, and then how you execute. And that it comes down to production and not wishful thinking. So there's a big difference of saying it and doing it. But you got to learn, to do it. There's a lot that goes into getting it done. And then yet you still have to perform on Saturday, and then anything can happen on a Saturday afternoon when things start to move quickly. That's when you be able to pull from your past and your experience. That is what will hold the test of time when you get in those critical moments.
In essence, you're kind of in a playoff mode right now, I would imagine, right? Considering your situation.
A quick answer would be yes, but I'm also telling you, this is the Missouri Valley Football Conference, and look, 10 teams got beat in the top 25 last week, all right? And everybody got beat below us except for Missouri State, South Dakota, and Sacramento State that were ranked below us. Everybody else got beat that were below us. So in this league, there's been teams that have left this league at 6-5 that have gotten in because of this league. And we've got quality wins. Sac State was a huge win because they're still winning. Now we'll see where they end up right now, but they're on top of the Big Sky. And even go back to St. Thomas. They're on top of the Pioneer League. All right, so it's a Pioneer League. So I'm not saying it's something there, but it wasn't like that was a poor game when you look at their standing right now. So and they're going to be the Pioneers going to get somebody in the playoffs through their automatic qualifying deal. So, yeah, you look at who we played. So, I'm not saying I'm not worried about the next game. I'm worried about this one, but at the same time, I'm not putting myself in that situation because we play in a league that we don't have to put ourselves in that situation. Fair enough. Got it.